Hey everybody, I've promised you guys that we're going to do some responses to various questions that have been asked in the community. So let's get cracking. First question is from Jeremy Pat Martin, and that's where do we see HODL 5 years from now? So an interesting question to start with. First off, I would say that, the biggest thing here is that we're looking at HODL as a long-term project. For me, I want HODL to outlive us all, something that we can pass on to our children and our children's children. But in terms of thinking the next 5 years, we've obviously got the Bitcoin halving coming up, which I think has a big impact on crypto as a whole. So we'll see what happens there. It's likely, if you kind of subscribe to that whole view of these cycles, that we'll have two bull runs in the next 5 years. So that's going to be huge for all projects that operate throughout that period. And obviously HODL very much intends to be one of those. Becoming a multi-billion-dollar company is a big goal. We registered as a company. It's obviously got, I would argue, the best brand name in crypto. We're building up one of the best, if not the best, ecosystems in DeFi. So to be a big multi-billion-dollar company that's entirely self-sufficient and has strong revenue generation is a goal in this period. We're already getting to a point where we've got a really big, impressive ecosystem of products and services. But I think we're just going to keep developing that and expanding that and building on the blockchain. One of the major things that's going to be very difficult, over the next 5 years is to see how many chains that we can be operating on. So we become so much more than just Binance Smart Chain. The other thing, one thing I'd like to see happen is just that we remove as much, or if not all, of the centralization involved. So within this next 5 years, there's no doubt, and maybe even within a year, who knows, that we will put our upgradable contract into a system that basically locks the contract. Nobody can edit it unless we have the support of the majority of our investor base. That would mean we'd have to propose upgrades and updates, and we're able to make those updates, which I think is a very good, very sensible thing to do, but it requires the backing of the community. And ultimately, within this next 5 years, our goal is to become one of the biggest brands in crypto. And I really think with what we've done so far and what's ahead of us, that's achievable. Obviously, you've got to come to your own conclusions. This is not advice, not financial advice. You have to make your own mind up. But that's why I'm here. That's why the team here. And that's what we've believed from the start and continue to believe, even though we've been through a very, very challenging bear market. So yeah, exciting times ahead. Next question is from AD, and that's how can I calculate the daily or weekly claim if I have a trillion HODL and the volume is 100 million euros a day? Can you give us an example on how to calculate this? Well, yes, I can. I mean, it's something actually you can go to the dashboard and see. So if you enter or connect your wallet, you'll see what's referred to as your equity, your percentage in the total tokens that are out there that could be claiming from the reward pool, which is effectively your percentage claim on the reward pool. But to specifically answer this question that's around holding a trillion HODL and 100 million euros of volume a day, the way I would calculate that would be to look at the total supply. So the total supply of HODL, 732 trillion tokens at the moment. It's deflationary, so that will drop. You then deduct how many tokens are in the deployer, because that doesn't claim. That takes you to 683 trillion tokens. So in this example, somebody holding a trillion tokens, that's what they're able. That's basically what they have, and the 683 trillion tokens that are able to claim from the reward pool. So you've effectively, when holding a trillion, got 1 in 683 as a percentage of what's in the reward pool. If there's 100 million of volume a day, that would be $5 million a day in rewards, because it's 5% roughly. So 1 trillion over 683 trillion, which is the amount that could claim. If there was 100 million of volume a day, that would effectively generate $50,000 of rewards a week. It doesn't account for people who don't claim. It doesn't account for people that have their HODL in staking pools. It doesn't account for people who claim late. And it doesn't account for revenues we put in from other sources, such as poker and gaming. But that will give you an idea. It's just a guide. You can't rely on that because there's so many factors, but that's how you would calculate it. Again, going back to the start, visit the dashboard on the website and you should be able to see a percentage figure as to, what you're holding, and therefore what you're able to claim as a percentage from the reward pool. The next question is from Keith H, which is, now that HODL has some information from user testing the app, what issues are standing out and are technical challenges? So I'm pleased to say that there's nothing really that concerns us. There were things that have concerned us throughout this journey, but we've kind of handled those and batted those away. There's about half a dozen tiny little, things that you probably wouldn't even notice, to be honest with you, once the app goes out, but we're going to fix those, just tiny little things. The main things are where the wallet is connecting to the different products and services we offer. So HODLX, staking pools, games, the swap and the third parties we use. So it's all those occasions when the wallet is required to connect. It's just a case of going through those and buttoning them all up. So again, it's nothing that concerns us. It just takes a little bit of time. The only other one worth mentioning is that it's been quite fiddly using the biometric capabilities of Android and iOS and making sure that they're always working correctly. Again, we've been going through a series of refinements on them, and we're pretty much towards the back end of that. So the one thing I would say is when we shared the app, pretty much everything that's been reported we already knew of. So I think we've got a good handle on it, and there's nothing really that concerns us about getting this thing finished. So a couple of issues there, but nothing that concerns us. Then the next question is from Remco, which is, within the app, we are currently making use of MoonPay to buy and sell B&B. And with HODL Pay planned for the future, is that something that will change? So first off, when we spoke to legal teams about registering the company and all the ramifications of what we're trying to do here, it's really sensible that we don't directly handle money, that we don't, for example, take cash. And when I talk about cash, I'm talking about dollars and sterling and so on. That we don't take that directly in exchange for crypto. That would make us a money handling business, which then kind of opens up this huge can of worms with regards to registrations and legality that are all different and complicated around the world. So the fact that partners like MoonPay exist means that they just alleviate all that hassle. So the reason we chose MoonPay is because they have the biggest coverage. They probably also have the best app and user interface that we can kind of work with. So it looks good, it functions well, it's stable, it's reliable, and it has huge coverage. It's too much really, given everything else we're building with the HODL app, to have multiple providers. But in the future, when we upgrade the app, we're going to look to add multiple options. So people could use MoonPay, or they could use, I can't remember off the top of my head some of the other names, but we have Flues and other partners that have slightly different prices or costs for using their services. They cover slightly different locations and so on. So in the future, the goal is to have multiple options for people to use when it comes to buying HODL, which requires them to sort of buy the B&B, then convert it, or vice versa. So yeah, we can increase the coverage, have more partners in the future, but we're starting with the biggest and the best, and the one with most coverage in MoonPay. With regards to HODL Pay, it's a similar conversation. We have to use third parties, certainly for foreseeable. Because realistically, if we're going to handle that cash direct and provide those services and be a money handling business effectively, it's millions of dollars and a long period of time to jump through all the legal hoops on that. So chances are we're better off working with a third party that's already covering that cost and handling it, and then finding a really slick, clean way of integrating it into our app so you wouldn't even know. The final question is from Keith H as well, which is about the removal of the HODL and HODLX pool. It says, the reasons are understandable, but on the other hand, is there plans for more utility for HODLX in the future? Yeah, absolutely. So, HODLX is a tax-free token, so it's quite amazing that we already have so much available for a tax-free token. So, You can stake HODL, you can farm it, you can bet with it, and you can also access discounts on HODL Hands NFTs. That's a pretty solid lineup for a token that doesn't include any tax. We are, however, working on this huge game that we're building at the moment, and that's got so much to it. That's going to be a huge boost to our ecosystem and bring in a ton of revenue. But we're making plans, and HODLX is included in those plans to give advantages for that game, to open up opportunities for people that are holding HODLX. So I don't want to reveal too much about that at this stage because we're ironing out a few creases, working out a few things, but HODLX is already planned to be a part of the upcoming game. And I should also mention, we've also planned for it to be a major part of the poker game that we're going to be building pretty soon as well. So on top of staking, farming, betting and discounts and NFT swaps on this tax-free token, we're also integrating it into play-to-earn gaming and poker in the future. Okay, I'm going to share this with the community, and we're also going to do a text-based version for anyone that can't watch the video, and we'll be sharing that in the next 24 hours. So thanks for your questions. If you've got any more, keep them coming, and we'll keep answering as many of them as we can. There was a question around the timescale of the app. I've asked Paul, who's actually leading on the development of the app, to share an update in the community, so keep an eye out for that as well. Thank you.